thoughts and prayers
with him, yes.
out to him, and hopefully he could be back with us next week.
Hope so. I didn't know that.
Yeah, but wow, just what a weekend of high school football last week.
Well, especially from where we're located right now. It's big down here right now with Oak Ridge. So as I told Coach Gaddis there, our last show a couple of weeks ago, I really thought Oak Ridge was playing the best football of anybody right now. I mean, look at the win streak they're on and everything. They're playing really, defense has played good for them all year long. They've been injured on offense a little bit, but I think Oak Ridge is really playing good football, and I really believe Oak Ridge comes away with a win Friday night. I really do.
Right, 8 wins in a row for the Wildcats.
Yes.
So you're right, they are playing their best football, and congratulations to Coach Gaddis and the Oak Ridge Wildcats. Also, congratulations to Coach Keith Henry and his Cofield Yellow Jackets. Big win over Oliver Springs Friday night, and man, that's just great. Just the game was sort of lopsided. It was, but just the atmosphere and just for those two communities to get together in the state quarterfinals, it's just terrific.
Yeah, it is, and considering only 5 miles apart, you could walk there really if you wanted to. 5 miles apart, going to Cofield. I don't know if you've ever been down there for a football game, but it's a great place to go watch a football game. Especially when it's packed, it's a great place to go watch a football game. There's probably not a better place for small high school football than to go to Cofield, because the tradition down there runs so high, and they're so passionate about their football down there. It's not a very big place. Man, everybody comes out that lives down there, I think. So it's big, but, man, they got a tall task this week going to South Pitt. Be a tough place to go play and come back with a victory. I don't know if Cofield has ever beat South Pitt. I don't think they have. I could be wrong, and I'm sure Brad Jones is watching, and he'll text here in a little while and tell me yay or nay. I saw him play South Pitt one time at Cofield, and Cofield got beat. It'll be tough to go to South Pitt and win that football game. But I'm pulling for the Yellow Jack. I'm pulling for Cofield, though.
Oh, no doubt. And there you see it on your screen, the BBB TV12 game of the week this Friday. Brad, it's not going to be on Channel 12. It's going to be streaming live, and I'm sure Brad, has thanked all his sponsors for making this happen, some sponsors in Cofield. You're going to be able to carry that game. You can watch it on your phone, on Facebook, or YouTube. There's several ways you could watch it, but you will not be able to watch it on Channel 12. But, Brad carried the game last week with Oliver Springs, and TSSAA will not allow him to carry the game on TV. But he's picked it up, streaming again, and, thank you to the sponsors out there in Cofield and the surrounding areas. I don't know who the sponsors are, but, hats off to them. But this kickoff will be at 8 o'clock Eastern, or on Central Time in South Pittsburgh. So you can check it out at 7:30 for the pregame. I imagine WECO out of Wartburg.
I think ECO's carrying the game on the radio. I do believe that's right.
Mm-hmm. So they'll be having the play-by-play and the color, and the kickoff, once again, is at 8 o'clock this Friday night, Cofield at South Pitt. But you're right, David, about Cofield. There's just the atmosphere. I've been down there the last 2 weeks. I went to the Greenback game, and I went this past week. Did you get down there?
No, I didn't get down there this year. I hadn't been down there this year, so I didn't get to go this year. But it's a great place to go see a football game. Now, you need to go when Cofield has to go to Greenback, and go to Greenback and watch the game. Be a different experience for you.
Yeah, I've yet to make it to Greenback.
I can tell you, it's a different experience.
I'd like to brag on Cofield. It is a great place to watch a game. There's plenty of parking, and you had a sellout. Of course, only 800 tickets were sold for the game last week. I'm sure they probably could have got more than if you just walked up and went in. But there's plenty of parking. It's easy, accessible into the stadium. Everything's level.
Yeah.
and just the atmosphere. That is the loudest game I've been to this year in maybe in a long time. Not only just the fans, but you got the cowbells. I had cowbells on both sides of me. Then you got the train horn when they score.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's big time. I mean, it's, high school football is big time, man. Down there especially, it's big. They're football. Football's number one down there.
Right.
It sure is. And it is a lot of places, but it's special down there. It's just a special, like you said it better than I can describe it. It's a great place to go see a football game that's really loud. And, it's almost home field advantage for Cofield like it should be.
Right, and we can look at the games, some of the games last week, but there you see some of the games coming up this week. Class AA Meigs counties at Trousdale County. I was reading up on them. They have met the last 2 years in the state semis. Trousdale won in 2018. Meigs County defeated Trousdale last year 22-20. Alcoa's at Red Bank. Red Bank's undefeated. Knocked out Loudon last week.
Yeah, Red Bank's season will be over, though, after Friday night, though. I would think, just if you go on what.
Right. But Red Bank's got a pretty good team. It should be a good game. GP gave Alcoa a game there for halftime. They gave out the scores like 14-13, Alcoa, before they went on to win handily. That's a game to keep an eye on there with Red Bank Lions. Elizabeth, and they pulled one out against Greenville last week. They're going to take on Nolensville, a team that they defeated last year in the state semis. And Nolensville's, I was reading up, they're only fourth or fifth year of existence as a school. So they got an upset win last week over Tullahoma. Tullahoma was undefeated, so Elizabeth, and they're a prohibitive favorite as well.
Yeah.
And that's the game coming up, South Dole at Oak Ridge. That's just a super matchup. These two schools have never met.
It's hard to believe that they've never met. I heard David Clary talking about that as I walked in the door there a while ago, talking about they played them as when they were South, then they played them when they were Dole, but they've never played them as South Dole. So I didn't realize that. That's going to be a good football team. Now, I'm not taking anything away from South Dole because they got a really good running back. And as Coach Gaddis said there, I think you might have heard him say, they got a really good quarterback too. But I think it's advantage Oak Ridge because it's played right over there at Blankenship.
Right, Oak Ridge will have the home field advantage, and it's pretty neat. They haven't never met. South Dole, they have a really good running back. There's a lot of storylines in this game. Sean Gary, I actually saw South Dole play against Anderson County, and I think that was the first game Sean Gary for South Dole that he started. Coach Clark Duncan, he saw something and put him back there, and wow, he's really
Well, he played him a lot in the second half of some games. He played him in the third and fourth quarter of a bunch of games, and everybody was trying to figure out what the deal was. And then finally, like you said, in the Anderson County game, he finally got a start, and then from that point on, it's history what's took place.
But yeah, a lot of storylines that Clark Duncan, he's never played at Blankenship. Him and Coach Gaddis have been friends for about 30 years, I guess, or more. They first got acquainted back in an All-Star game back in the early 90s, a Tennessee-Kentucky game.
So even when he was at Powell never played Oak Ridge. They've never played. Well, I didn't realize that neither. I would have thought Powell and Oak Ridge had played sometime during Clark Duncan's tenure when he was the Powell head football coach. That's weird too.
Right, yeah. Right, they never did meet. I thought that was sort of strange too, that Powell and Oak Ridge had never played each other until they got in the same district, I believe. So
I didn't realize that.
But Coach Gaddis and Coach Duncan, got together as coaches on the All-Star game, struck up an acquaintance, and that in '91, Powell went to the state finals as a AA school, played Brentwood Academy, and Oak Ridge that year as well was in the state championship, defeated Gallatin. and they played after each other right there. So that's sort of ironic there. And, you know, neither coach has been back to the state since then. You know, that was Duncan's only visit and Coach Gaddis' only appearance. But I was reading where, you know, they've been staying in touch a lot here recently, lately, this past year. It seemed like they've gotten closer, just texting after games. And then they were even texting like going into the games last week. So it'd be great, you know, if we could play each other. You know, but they had tall tasks, you know. South Dole had to get past Central, and then Oak Ridge past the number 1 ranked West Rebels. But also they had, you know, Coach Duncan, he'd always wanted to play at Blankenship Field. He went there as a kid. I remember I was reading, he's like maybe 12 years old. He went and watched some of Emory Hale's teams back then. And he thought it was just a magical place. Like players are bigger than life, and he always wanted to play there. He also said he wanted to coach. That's one of his dream jobs, to coach at Oak Ridge. And I think Kingsport and also at Maryville, that was sort of like his dream job. But him and Coach Gaddis, you know, they struck up a deal about 3 weeks ago to play each other. I think they're going to play each other next year, the opening game of the season. I think South Dole is going to go to Oak Ridge to open the season. So I thought that's pretty neat, that story there. And, you know, they were talking last week before their game. They said, well, let's just go ahead and play, you know, Friday night. You know, let's go ahead and win these games. And lo and behold, they did. I think Coach Duncan said, you know, after they won their game, they was coming off the field, and he heard that Oak Ridge had won. So just a lot of neat storylines.
That is pretty neat right there. That's pretty neat. And like I said, I didn't realize Powell and Oak Ridge had never played until they got in the same region together, so I didn't realize that.
We got our first call coming in. Locker room chat.
Hey, how you doing, Steve? This is Coach Keith, man, from Clinton.
Hey, Coach Keith, how you doing?
I'm all right. I just wanted to call in and give my 2 cents on the game. I think it's going to be a very interesting game. What makes it really good is I think they're equally matched. I think that Oak Ridge has tons of athletes, and so the Central. But I give it to Oak Ridge. I said that last time I was on your show. I think Oak Ridge is overall has a little bit more depth, and I think if Central is not Central. I'm sorry. South Dole is a good football team, but they're heavily dependent on the run. So I feel if Oak Ridge can shut the run down, the game will sway their way. So I'm kind of fun to Gaddis a little bit. I know I sound kind of weird. We're kind of friendly rivals, but so my money's on Oak Ridge, and I wish everybody in Oak Ridge the best.
Right, Coach Ken. I remember when you was on the show last, you was talking about Oak Ridge, and you had picked them as maybe come out of that group of teams like Powell, Central, South Dole, and Oak Ridge. But you like the Wildcats.
Yeah, I think they're a complete football team. I think this year is their year. So
you're exactly right, and the defense has really played well as late, and they shut out Ray County, limited Saudi Daisy, and then last week I thought they had a very good offensive philosophy too against West's defense. West has one of the top defenses around, and Oak Ridge, Coach Gaddis said they're hard to run on, so he went to more of the passing game and used their star running back Kendall Jackson more on jet sweeps and maybe passes out in the flat.
Yeah, the coaching for the last 3 weeks at Oak Ridge has been superb, and not to take anything away from Coach Duncan and his staff, but I think that right now Oak Ridge is hitting on all cylinders, and I think it'll be a real close game. But I have to get an edge to Oak Ridge.
Right, and Coach Keith, before you go, my co-host here, David Queener, we was talking before the show come on. He asked me what about the Clinton Dragons' schedule coming up in 2021? And unless David can talk to you about that since you got on the air, and maybe you can share a little light on the schedule.
Oh, I definitely will share some light on the schedule.
Hey, Coach, I know you. I've seen some comments that you've made about the schedule. I think it's a pretty good schedule for you myself. What's behind the schedule? I mean, I know what you said, but tell the viewers, what's really behind the schedule.
Well, I think sometimes, we as adults, we're strong-minded people. We persevere a little bit because we're adults. I mean, we're still, I don't care how big and muscular they're still kids. Well, Clinton, unfortunately, Clinton has been losing for a very long time. I guess I'll give you an example. When we played Oak Ridge, who, I think is a very good football team, our team had no fear whatsoever. They played with everything they had. We were old match, but we gave them everything we had. And that's all you can ask out of your team. But when we played Anderson County, the kids had no fight whatsoever. And, that's a psychological advantage. They've been beaten for 21 years, a long time to lose to a football team. It's not a rivalry anymore. It's a lopsided game. So, going forth and looking at my non-conference games, I have to put my team in the best situation to win, to start building back to be able to compete with the competition that goes on in East Tennessee. I mean, man, last year I had the second toughest schedule in the state of Tennessee. That's traumatic if you're trying to build a football team playing a Super Bowl every day. So, my pride tells me that I back down from no one, but it's not about me, it's about the kids. The way I think and the way a 16 or a 17-year-old thinks is two different ways. So I had to step back from that thing and do what was best for the kids and Clinton. So what's best for Clinton is for me to put them in the best situations to be competitive and be able to win some games and maybe sneak up and win about 3 or 4 conference games and have a real good season and go into the postseason. We need that. You're asking a kid in the city of Clinton, hey, stay here with me at Clinton and lose every year and don't go to Anderson County and win. I mean, come on. I can't keep my kids if I'm going 0-10 every year.
Well, I'm with you, Coach. Like I said, I think you got a good schedule, and not to say down the road somewhere in the near future you don't put AC back on the schedule. I think it'd be a good break for a little while. I agree with you. It's no longer a rivalry game as far as I'm concerned. It's the adults are more into it, I think, than the kids are, just to be honest with you. But I think your schedule's a good schedule, and there's possibly some winnable games on there for you to get the program turned around. And as the program gets turned around a little bit and you get a little bit stronger, then I'd say you can explore some other options.
I mean, I don't think the people from Anderson County should take it as anything disrespectful. I think they probably should take it as a compliment. They have a good football program. They have a good little league, a good middle school, and everything, and a JV, and everything feeds into the high school. We haven't gotten there yet. Well, we got to start somewhere.
Oh, I agree with you. I agree with you 100%. 100%.
I agree with you, Coach, and maybe you pick it back up in a couple of years. I know you got a good freshman class this year, and also in the new classifications coming out, Clinton's going to get a break there as well. We're losing West and Fulton. Fulton's dropping down to 4A, and West is moving over to another region, and we're picking up Lenore City. No knock on them, but that's a pretty good trade-off right there. And as you mentioned, our non-region schedule this year, was number 2 in the state, the schedule, and you had Meigs County, which they're still playing undefeated, and CAK went undefeated. They lost a few weeks ago, and plus you're playing AC and one of the top teams in 4A, which I feel they could still be playing. But that was brutal, and it's been brutal for a long time. And you say Clinton's been losing. You're exactly right. Clinton's had 3 winning seasons since Coach Gaylor left Clinton. In '98 was his last year, and we've had 3 winning seasons in 21 years. So it's been tough, and I think you're doing a real good job. got the program headed in the right direction, and I think this schedule is going to help continue that along that path.
Well, if you take a look at the schedule, I didn't want to make it as cupcake as I would have liked. I mean, we still need to have, I think 50-50 games help build your team. There's nothing guaranteed on our schedule. I don't want to insult anyone, but I think with the maturation of some of the freshmen that we played last year, I think that we're going to be quite competitive. I'm confident that we might shake up the tree a little bit. I'm very confident. And, barring serious injuries, I think we're going to be quite competitive. And I owe a debt to the people here in Clinton. I mean, it's their time. And I watched their faces the last game we won, and I feel obligated to this community. So I'm gonna put all my feet. I'm going into this thing feet first. I've taken it personal now. It's more than a job for me. It's like I live in Clinton, so I'm a part of the community. So it's me now.
You're right, kid.
I got a son that play on that team, so I owe them that. I owe them a debt, and I'm gonna pay it.
You're right, Coach. It's all about the kids and.
Hey, Coach. Have a good Thanksgiving, man.
You too, man. Guys, thank you for taking my call, and I'm not gonna say go Wildcats. I'm gonna say go Dragons, but we supporting the Cats, okay?
Man.
Yeah. Happy Thanksgiving.
All right. Take care.
I think he comes out of the sports basketball team pretty heavy too, doesn't he, Coach Keith? He's a lot of the games, isn't he?
Yes.
Yeah.
He was a lot of games last year, and then this year his son, he's a freshman on the team, and he's been there.
Well, you could sit back and look at Clinton, never how you want to look at him, but Coach coming in this year, John, no spring workout, no summer workouts, no 7-on-7 stuff. I mean,
right.
And then COVID, the way practice came out, and you had to do it. I mean,
yeah, you didn't know.
He had to have the perfect scenario to happen for him, and it just wasn't. The cards wasn't there for it to be. You take a good football team. It affected some good football teams too, probably. But Clinton's trying to rebuild, so I think it really affected those programs more than it did the. If you had an experienced football team and you were already there, you probably made it through it. It didn't affect Harris County. It didn't affect Oak Ridge too much. Look at them. Didn't affect Oliver Springs, Cofield. Look, might have affected Oliver Springs a little bit. Started out 0-4.
Yeah, well, they had a young team.
Had a young team too. So that's what I'm saying. So no spring practice, new coach, new verbiage on everything. Some new coaches. I just think Clinton was behind the 8 ball right off the bat. And since day one I've met Coach, I've liked him. I think he's all about Clinton. And I think we got somebody that could be here for a while. We need to stop. Clinton needs to stop this rotating door of football coaches.
Right.
We need to stop it. Because having a new football coach every 4 or 5 years is not going to work. It's not going to look at the programs that are successful. You can name them just like I can. Those head coaches have been there for a while. And that's why.
Yeah, you can look in college as well. You can look at over there in Knoxville, all the coaches we've had.
That's and you're right on.
No stability, and that was one of my biggest pet peeves when they got rid of Fulmer. I don't think you was a Fulmer fan, but I hate to see him go because he brought that stability to the program, and I'd seen a lot of programs go down this same path that Tennessee is on right now, where you bring in somebody, an outsider, and it don't work, and you go to the next coach, and they made some bad hires, and, it's just.
The only thing I said about Fulmer was right after Tennessee won the national championship, I thought Fulmer and his coaching staff sort of sat on their laurels a little bit in recruiting. Because here's the fact. I remember I think we were here when we did this. Ron Berry was sitting beside me like you're sitting beside me tonight. And he is all excited because all of Tennessee's incoming freshmen were on campus and in summer school. And this was the class. This was the class that was going to bring was going to be the next big thing to the University of Tennessee. Dennis Rogan was in this class from Fulton, and that's how I remember this class. When it was all said and done, I think there was only 2 or 3 kids out of that class that finished up at the University of Tennessee after 4 years. There weren't but 2 or 3 of them that were there at the end. So I think Former and them went off on a recruiting trail. They got a little lackadaisical maybe and didn't recruit. They thought they had a really good recruiting class. It turned out, I don't think listen, these kids that got 4 and 5 stars beside their name, John, I don't believe in that. I really don't believe in that, because you might have seen a kid play Friday night down in Cofield that could play in the SEC, but because he plays small single-A school football, he's not going to get a chance because it's small single-A football. And he's probably just as good as somebody that comes from a 5A or 6A school. Prime example, Parker McKinney, a couple years ago, Cofield, quarterback, defensive back, played all over the place. He's Mr. Everything in Cofield. There's no doubt in my mind he could have played in the SEC. Maybe not as a quarterback, but he could have played on the defensive side of the football. He didn't get an opportunity.
That's a good point. You look at Herschel Walker, he played at a small school, but
football's
might be the exception. But
football's football, isn't it?
Right.
I mean,
he had the size and
football's football. I mean, it's football. So, I don't know. I just think the small school athletes don't get the build as some kid from Oak Ridge gets, or some kid from Maryville gets, or Oakland, or because you're from a big-time football program. That doesn't mean that some of those kids could play at those big-time football programs. I'll guarantee you they could.
Well, we're going to take our first break. Our phone lines are open if you'd like to call in. We'll be on to 9 o'clock tonight. So give us a call. If you have a question or comment, we'd like to hear from you. So we'll be right back in a little bit. You're watching the Locker Room Chat.
Roan Metals Group has been serving East Tennessee for decades. Locally owned and operated with convenient hours of operation. Roan Metals buys all types of scrap metal. Nothing's too big or too small. Still have that clunker sitting around? We've been buying them for years. Roan Metals Group are specialists in industrial scrap. We have what it takes to get any size job done. Roan Metals urges you to recycle responsibly. Scrap with only licensed dealers. A member of the TSRA and the ISRI. Roan Metals Group. Turn that scrap into cash.
Muncie Pharmacy is your locally owned hometown pharmacy. They accept most insurances, so why go to the large chain pharmacies when you get better customer service at Muncie Pharmacy? Have a special prescription that needs compounding? Muncie Pharmacy can handle those needs as well. Muncie Pharmacy has a drive-through for your convenience and offers free delivery in the Oak Ridge area. And don't forget the gifts that we have available for all occasions.
Here at Muncie Pharmacy, we take the time to know you and treat you like family.
At Earl F. Subaru, providing exceptional customer service is what we do best, and we've got the awards to prove it.
We've been recognized as Tennessee's only 9-time winner of the Love Promise Customer Commitment Award. And again this year, we also earned the Love Promise Community Commitment Award, given for enhancing the areas we serve. At Earl F. Subaru, we're more than just a car lot. We're a retailer you can love, and one that gives back to local causes. Check out our reviews that come to Earl F. Subaru in Harriman.
Take I-40 to exit 347 in Harriman, or check all our specials at duffsubaru.com.
OEB Law is excited to be a part of this year's football season. School spirit is at an all-time high. OEB Law is proud to give back and support our community. Come cheer on these great teams with us. And remember, if you've been injured or need legal help, OEB Law will be there for you. So visit wreckintoacheck.com or give us a call, 865-546-1111, and let OEB Law turn your wreck into a check.
What rhymes with great?
Participate.
Where does greatness start? Here, in the classroom. On the diamond.
In the pool.
On the field.
Where will your greatness take you?
To better grades.
To more friends.
Yeah! Be great.
Participate!
Live and Let Live Drugstore in downtown Rockwood is your gift destination. Shop the new plush selection for that special someone. We have Bath & Body Works popular fragrances and custom gift baskets too. Live and Let Live has a wide selection of gift and home decor for any occasion, from yard flags to selected jewelry, plus much more. We have Big Orange giftware always available year-round. And don't forget to enjoy a soda fountain treat while you shop. Live and Let Live Drugstore, Gift Shop, and Soda Fountain in downtown Rockwood.
Welcome back into the locker room chat. Phone lines are open. 4838112. Give us a call if you have a question or comment. And we're going to look at some of the games from last week before we look ahead to the state semifinals. The first had some news and notes. In basketball, we'll start out with Kingston girls got a new basketball coach, John Green. He's from Oliver Springs, I believe. He's taken over. I don't know if that's the Jonathan Green, them Green boys down there.
I don't know if it is or not. I don't know.
Anyway, taking over the Kingston girls. Their head coach had a birth of twins. Kayla Christopher played at Oliver Springs.
Yes.
She's a Rather now. Kayla Christopher Rather. She's taking the year off, I guess. And what's that? Oh, yeah. She's an excellent basketball player.
Is her mom still the coach at Oliver Springs?
She is. Her mother's still the coach.
She's still the coach
for
there?
Lady Bobcats.
Lady Bobcats.
And Kayla's husband, Wesley Rather, we had him on back in the spring. He's the head coach of the boys now at Oliver Springs.
Oh, okay.
So sort of a family thing there.
Yeah.
So it's always good. Clinton's Sarah Burton, Lady Dragon, she scored her 1,000th career point Monday night over in the tournament in Farragut. So congratulations to Sarah Burton for.
Hey, John, is she a senior or junior?
She's a junior.
She's a junior? Okay.
Mm-hmm. She's a junior, and she got 5-star preps right there. You can see on the board there.
She must get her talent from her mother, not her dad.
Right, yeah. I seen Scott play. And,
she got her talent from her mother.
Uh-huh. Also, another player from Clinton, Jackson Garner. He's up for the Prep Extra Player of the Week award in 3 games last week. He had a 28 against Heritage, 38 against Bradley County, and 31 against Sevier County. Those last 2 games both in the same day, so back-to-back.
Wow.
Jackson Garner, he's a junior.
Wow.
Also, Kamari Mitchell-Steen from the Oak Ridge Lady Wildcats. She had almost a triple-double, 28 points, 13 rebounds, 8 assists against Kingston. And Cofield's Gabby Lau had 29 points in the game against Lenore City. And another note I just heard when I came in, Anderson County boys have had to shut it down for the next 14 days after quarantine. Apparently they got some contact tracing, so I know they're supposed to play Clinton on December the 4th. I think that's next Friday, a week from Friday, and that game's been postponed. So the Mavericks, hate to hear that.
Yeah, I think that we're going to hear a lot of that coming up.
Yeah, we're hearing a lot of that in college, and
yep.
Let's take this next call. Locker room chat, you're on the air.
Well, gobble, 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 Mr. Queener.
Hey, what's going on, Mr. Berry? How you doing, man?
Yeah. How you doing, buddy?
Doing all right, man. Just filling in here tonight, helping John out tonight. He needed a little help tonight. Eric had a death in the family, so I'm just filling in.
You're doing the old holiday tradition, right?
Yeah, I am. I told him it's not. I enjoy always doing it right before Thanksgiving because we get to talk about football teams around here still practicing. So I had to come tonight. I really wanted to come tonight just to guarantee my seat on the bus with Coach Gaddis.
Well, I don't know what else Coach Gaddis has to do, to tell you about that seat. That seat's occupied. I tried to tell you a couple of weeks ago that Oak Ridge was the real thing, that they were going to Bray County and win. They got over that hurdle, and I told you the other day, David, I think this may be one of Coach Gaddis' better coaching jobs. He got off to a bad start. He comes back and he beats a good West team ranked number 1 in the state. I think he's got this team primed, and I think he gets a big win Friday night.
Well, I don't agree with you very much or very often, you know that, but I do agree with everything you just said. He's got the Wildcats rolling pretty good right now. They're on an 8-game winning streak, and playing at home Friday night. You've been to Blankenship, you know how it is there. I think Oak Ridge. I'm not going to say it's going to be easy, but I think he wins by about 10 probably.
Yeah, I think so. I think Southfield has a hard time with the speed of Oak Ridge, and I think they'll have a hard time moving the ball down the field. They'll have some big plays, I think, but I don't think they can get consistent on them. And and the fact that Blankenship now has had its makeover and stuff, what a neat way to start some new traditions there at Blankenship, playing for a chance to go to the state tournament.
You're right.
So, that was an amazing win. Coach Gaddis even said a lot of people weren't giving them much chance to win. Everybody thought they could win. Maybe it was their team and their fans. And what a big win to go over in West and win that game.
And come from behind.
Right, come from behind and
a couple times, and that was a really good West football team. And I just think South Doyle probably hasn't played anything the caliber of Oak Ridge this year. And need to give my Davidson Bears a little shout out. Back-to-back state champs. My man Eli will be playing for the third time this year. They better win it this year because they move up next year and they'll probably never see another one.
Hey, so they're playing in it again?
Yeah, they're playing in it Thursday. So
who's that?
They're going for trips. So
Davidson. That's private school. So he plays this Thursday or next Thursday?
Yeah. No, next Thursday.
Next Thursday?
Next Thursday.
Okay,
yeah,
all right. I'll try to watch that then. Hey, Ron, does he get to start?
No, he's just a freshman.
Oh, he's just a freshman. Well, he's been playing for 3 years or 3 years, hasn't he?
he got him a ring last year as an 8th grader, so he's trying to build on that.
Is that
it's his grandson?
Uh-huh.
Of course, next year, like I say, they move up next year, so it's going to be lights out next year.
Well, hey, tell him I said congratulations and go get it, and good luck to him.
He's always asking about you, and in fact he's asked about that seat on the bus a couple times, and I told him, I said, that Coach Gaddis would take that seat out of the bus.
He probably would. Listen, if I could guarantee, if he knew I could guarantee a win Friday night, he'd put that seat back in the bus, probably.
I'm not sure, Quinn.
Yeah, I believe he would, bud.
I think the damage has been done. I think he sees nightmares.
I heard that, buddy.
Well, happy Thanksgiving to y'all, and thanks for helping with the show, man.
All right, see you, bud.
Okay, buddy.
Happy Thanksgiving, Ron, and thanks
for
calling in.
Long-time partner there, man. Me and him's done a lot of football together. I've learned a lot of things from him about small. He got me hooked up on this small football. I mean, it's not all about the big boys. It's got something to do with the little guys too. But go ahead. I'm sorry.
It's fun to go watch too. I mean, it's down there last week. It's just outstanding atmosphere.
Football.
Right,
it's a good atmosphere down there. You're exactly right.
Mm-hmm. Let's look at some of the games last week. Cofield 36-0 winners over Oliver Springs, and Seth Lau had 2 rushing TDs, caught a touchdown pass. The quarterback Cole Hines rushed for 1 and threw 1, and they also returned a fumble for a touchdown. Connor Johnson, and they just really dominated the line rushing. That's what Cofield likes to do, line it up, and they were just more physical than Oliver Springs, and they held them to 100 yards total offense.
Hey, I want to go back just a minute. You said you were talking about Clinton's basketball team.
Mm-hmm.
He was talking about, I think, are they off to a 3-0 start?
2-1.
2-1, and you said it's pretty much an all-junior team?
Mm-hmm. Pretty much. Juniors coming back. They have no seniors on the team. They got a few freshmen, but it's mainly just juniors that make up the roster. And a lot of those juniors played last year. Got some
playing time last year.
Yeah, I got some good minutes.
Well, that's good. I hope Coach Lockard has a good year this year. But I'll tell you, the coach is going to be the tough thing for him.
Yeah.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
You said that about young man having 3 games there with.
Yeah, Jackson Garner. He had 97 points in 3 games. So he's averaging over 30 right now. And, he had 7 3-pointers and both the games last Saturday. So yeah, he can shoot the ball. He's one of the best pure shooters in the area, no doubt about it.
Sounds like he is.
If you haven't seen him play, you need to get out and watch him.
I need to try to get out and watch him play because it seems like he's going to be getting a lot of attention from a lot of teams here, I would say, if he keeps putting numbers up like that anyway.
Right, Clinton play at home, play their first home game Saturday against Gatlinburg-Pittman. So that's at 7 o'clock. That's boys only, so might be a good night to come out and check out the Dragons. Gatlinburg-Pittman, they're a pretty good team, Coach Lockhart was saying. He thought they were the team to beat in the AA in there with Fulton and Jody and all them.
Yeah, I've been up there with Fulton before, and that's a tough place to go play up there. They usually have some pretty good basketball team up there, too.
Looking at some other games, South Pittsburgh, who Cofield plays, 37-7 over Gordonsville. It was a tight game a little bit before halftime. They broke it open. So it's a big, big challenge for Cofield. Meigs County, 42-14 over South Green. Will Meadows in Meigs County, he's up for Mr. Football. He had 6 touchdowns in that game. And
I think everybody thought last year after Meigs County lost their quarterback, lost their star quarterback,
right,
that Meigs County would go down.
That's what I thought, too.
They was wrong about that, wasn't
they? Exactly right. And Clinton was supposed to play them. I was wanting to see Meigs County, and of course Clinton had the COVID issues going on, so they had to cancel that game. But Alcoa over GP, 49-13. It was 14-13 at the half for Alcoa. Broke it open. They will play Red Bank, who beat Loudon 24-14 in a rematch of the top 2 teams in their region. And Red Bank's undefeated, so get to play the Tornadoes.
We'll see.
Right. They've had some good teams in the past. Gerald Riggs, he played for Red Bank, and I've been down there one time. It poured the rain, went down there, a bunch of us, and it poured the rain the whole game. I think that's when Riggs played. And anyway, Elizabethton pulled out a win over Greenville, 24-20. Greenville had a good strategy against them. They tried to take their wide receiver away because Elizabethton's got 2 players up for Mr. Football, but Elizabethton found a way to get that win over their big rival.
Yeah, that's a big rivalry game for a couple of years there. Greenville put them out just like they put Anderson County out. So situation sort of reversed just a little bit.
South Dole 21-14 over Central. The Bobcats 2-time defending champions under Coach Rosser. He's no longer there, but that's still a good win for South Dole. A great win. They go to Central and win. Talking about Sean Gary, he returned the opening kickoff, 95 yards for a touchdown. Put the Cherokees up early. I think they went up 14-0. Central came back to tie it up, and South Dole got one fairly late in the fourth quarter to win by 7 points. Setting up that big showdown with the Wildcats, who won over West, number 1 team, 31-28, and it's just a great game. I listened to the last of that coming home with David Clary, and just a great call by him. He was going bananas.
Yeah, he said on our listen to that call too. He said Oak Ridge football's back because they've not been in this situation in a while. So he told when it was. I don't remember when he said it was, but he's quite excited.
Right.
There's not a bigger football fan than David Clary for Oak Ridge anyway. He knows more about Oak Ridge football than anybody.
Right, in that game, Mitchell Gibbons, he had 4 touchdown passes, threw for almost 200 yards. Jonathan Stewart, the wide receiver who caught the winning touchdown pass, he had leg cramps on the play before. He's on the sidelines, and he's seen the play when Oak Ridge was first and goal, and the center snapped it over the quarterback's head, and he thought they had lost the game right there, but he comes in the next play and catches a touchdown pass.
Yeah, Oak Ridge did some clock management right there at the end. They didn't give West a lot of time at the end. After they scored, they had some clock management there. I honestly think, and that bad snap could have been Katie barred the door for Oak Ridge.
Yeah.
I don't know that was not the winning play of the game because it gave them a little bit more room to operate. Instead of being in a tight situation, give them just a little bit more room to operate. I'm sure Coach Gaddis won't agree with me on that. That's me. I think you just give them a little bit more room.
You're exactly right. Coach Gaddis said that. He said he didn't want that to happen, but that gave him more room.
It just gave him a little bit more because people don't understand. Here's what you got to understand about football: when you get the area shortened, it's easier to defend in a short field than it is if you've got 20, 30 yards to go down the field. If you're shortening it up, it's a little bit easier. I think it is anyway.
Right.
That's my thought.
Right. Exactly right, especially with West, with their defense. They're tough enough as it is. And
and Jonathan Cox is the one that said this. He said this 2 or 3 Fridays ago about. He was talking about West, John. He said, what Oak Ridge needs to do with West is to shut their running game down. Make them have to throw the football.
And
that's something they're not as good at as they are running the football. And Oak Ridge done that. They shut that running game down or kept it under control, and West had to rely on a passing game, which is not as good as their running game. And Coach Gaddis said it tonight. West had 3 really good running backs, but Oak Ridge took care of that, and that's how they just won that. They won that game. That's how they won that game.
I think coaching won that game.
I tell you what,
a lot of things they did. They didn't try to run the ball on West because they knew that they were tough against the run, so they used the receivers and Kendall Jackson on jet sweeps and little passes out in the flat. They didn't really try to run, I don't believe. I didn't go to the game or see it. But
if you look at Oak Ridge's season, Coach Jody Wright was on the show with me and Cox. He was on a couple of times, but maybe the last time he was here when we talked to Coach Gaddis. After we talked to Coach Gaddis had won that game, but his next Friday night game was going to be canceled, John. And he didn't go out, Coach Gaddis, didn't go out and pick up a game for the 10th and final game of the year. He kept that game as just an open date. Coach Wright, sitting right here where I'm at tonight, said that's a smart move by a veteran football coach.
Exactly.
And he kept his team just right where he wanted them, and look at them today. So, it's a great coaching job by Coach Gaddis and the coaching staff, and, Coach Gaddis needs to get a little credit here because he's not a Hall of Fame football coach for no reason. There's a reason behind that.
You're right, and you got 2 coaches there Friday night, Coach Gaddis, Coach Duncan, and I looked this up, I read it. But between the 2, they have coached in 804 games. Coach Gaddis and Coach Duncan of South Dual. Coach Gaddis has been there 38 years. This is his 38th season coaching, and Coach Duncan his 29th season. And they've coached in 804 games, and they have, between them, 525 wins. And that's what's going to be on the field Friday night at Blankenship. 2 veteran coaches.
Yeah, it's going to be. There are 2 good football. I mean, not only a good football team, but there's 2 good coaches there and good coaching staffs, and it ought to be a game of the X's and O's. I mean, there'll be a lot of X's and O's, and I would think that Clark Duncan's over there scheming up right now. That's like Oak Ridge came out last week in a set that West had not seen all year. Empty backfield, Kendall Jackson out running like you was talking about, jet sweeps and stuff like that. Kendall Jackson out playing like a wide receiver.
Yeah.
West had not seen that, and they didn't know how to react to that. And, I would think their scheme, that's coaching right there. I would think, and he also talked about, I listened to the first of his show before I left the house tonight, about their quarterback, Oak Ridge's quarterback. They seen some areas where he could run the ball to take advantage of him running the football. In which he did run the football last week. I don't know what he rushed for, but he actually run the football. And I heard Coach Gaddis comment tonight that he liked that. He liked to see him be aggressive, but they also seen that on film too. They could do that quarterback brawl on them a lot.
Well, let's jump up to the next game. Well, the winner of the South Dual Oak Ridge game will play Summit or Henry County. And both those schools have been the runner-ups the last 2 years. Summit was runner-up last year in 5A. Henry County runner-up before that in 18. Coach Gaddis, he coached at Henry County.
Yeah, he said I talked to him right there, and he said he didn't know much about either football team. don't think he could tell me about Henry County. Well, he did say he had some friends still in Henry County, but he said Henry County will probably have a big, it's got a pretty good crowd that'll show up to support them. It is at Henry County. He said Summit had a couple twin football players that was pretty good too. That's all he knew about either program. He had not really looked at either program, just what he had heard through the grapevine, I reckon.
Yeah, Summit's 12-1. Henry County is 10-2. And Maryville taking on Oakland. Maryville defeated the Kingsport last week, 35-28. That was a game that was 14-all. Played at Maryville, and Maryville ran a kickoff back and then scored another touchdown right before halftime to go up 28-14, and then added another one before Kingsport scored their last one late in the game to make it a 7-point game. But Kingsport's got a good team, but a good Maryville and Oakland squaring off.
I know I asked you who you thought might win that game. You told me Jesse Smith would pick Oakland. I can't pick against Maryville and Alcoa in either one. I mean, somebody's got to beat them first, but I think Maryville wins that football game. It's going to be close. I think they played close the last 2 or 3 times they played. I think Maryville goes to Oakland and comes back happy.
And they will play the winner of Bartlett 10-1 or Brentwood 10-3. So the winner of the Maryville Oakland will be the favorite going into that, I would assume.
Yeah, I would assume.
But we're going to take our last break, and we'll be right back. You're watching the Locker Room Chat.
Football is back. And OAB Law is excited for a season full of big hits, perfect plays, and those nail-biting near misses. If you've been injured, OAB Law will come to your defense and tackle any obstacles blocking you from scoring a full and fair settlement. Call OAB Law 865-546-1111 and turn your wreck into a check.
The innocence of youth. Is there anything any better? But soon they'll be in high school and facing all the same challenges you faced. How to make friends, how to fit in, how to be cool. We want our children to have everything they'll need to live fulfilling and productive lives. Make sure the kids in your family are among the more than 110,000 participants here in Tennessee who take part in high school sports.
Live and Let Live Drugstore in downtown Rockwood is the premier pharmacy service location. Let our professional staff help with all your pharmacy needs, answer your questions, or help with your medication management with our Medicine on Time packaging system. We also offer medication therapy management to ensure you're receiving maximum benefits from your medication. Diabetes care is available with one-on-one consultations, or you can attend one of our monthly diabetes information classes. Live and Let Live Drugstore in downtown Rockwood.
We treat you like family at RMG. Bring your junk, cars, aluminum cans. We'll buy it on the spot and we'll pay you a lot. We treat you like family at RMG. Yeah, we treat you like family at RMG. We treat you like family.
Rome Metals is located just off of Highway 27 between Harriman and Rockwood.
At Earl F. Subaru, providing exceptional customer service is what we do best, and we've got the awards to prove it.
We've been recognized as Tennessee's only 9-time winner of the Love Promise Customer Commitment Award. And again this year, we also earned the Love Promise Community Commitment Award given for enhancing the areas we serve. At Earl F. Subaru, we're more than just a car lot. We're a retailer you can love and one that gives back to local causes. Check out our reviews that come to Earl F. Subaru in Harriman.
Take I-40 to exit 347 in Harriman, or check all our specials at duffsubaru.com.
Muncie Pharmacy is your locally owned hometown pharmacy. They accept most insurances, so why go to the large chain pharmacies when you get better customer service at Muncie Pharmacy? Have a special prescription that needs compounding? Muncie Pharmacy can handle those needs as well. Muncie Pharmacy has a drive-thru for your convenience and offers free delivery in the Oak Ridge area. And don't forget the gifts that we have available for all occasions.
Here at Muncie Pharmacy, we take the time to know you and treat you like family.
All right, we got a few minutes left in the show, and just looking at David, what do you want to look at?
But okay, hey, let's talk about Tennessee football right quick. I know you're a big Vol fan like I am, but postponed again this week.
Postponed, right?
Good or bad, you think?
Well, I think it's bad. I never see it get canceled. It might be good for Coach Pruitt, and if Vanderbilt was to beat Tennessee.
Lord have mercy.
How bad would that be?
That'd be bad. Listen, I don't think they can afford to fire Coach Pruitt this year. Even if they want to, they can't afford to fire him. They're not going to have the funds to pay out the contracts.
They got big pockets over. I think
Don't you think they're going to have to make some? He's going to have to make some coaching changes. How do you feel about the offensive coordinator?
I didn't much care for Chaney when he was here last time. I thought he was pass happy. And I don't know if as much as coaching is the quarterback. I think we just need a quarterback.
Well, why I asked you the question about being happy or not, could it be that this extra week gives Bailey the opportunity to get even a little bit more time under his belt and be the starting quarterback against Florida?
Right.
2 weeks.
I would have hoped he would be quarterbacking, but I hadn't heard. I thought Garantano might have been starting this Saturday. I
wouldn't have been shocked. One thing about Jeremy Pruitt, you'll have to say this about him, John. If you play for him, he is loyal to you. He's been loyal to JG, man. He's been loyal. I mean, he's put his job on the line for him almost. Yeah. Just to be honest. Or I think he has anyway.
He's walking the plank with him, and he's got a good point. Coach Pruitt, he says that he's the best he's got. He's going to put the best out there. I think he may be right, because I haven't seen much out of Mallor. I mean, he gave him a spark last year, but coming into this year, he had hamstring problems, and he played him some, and he looked terrible. J.T. Shrout was in for one play and threw an interception. He hasn't been back.
He didn't even make the travel squad last week, did he?
Right, Mallor didn't. And Bailey, who knows what Bailey can do. He didn't really have a preseason either, and he had some, he didn't have the reps in, and who knows what he can. He looks okay when he comes in, but we don't really know what he can do.
Pruitt has a theory behind Bailey. He doesn't want to do Bailey like JG was done and get absolutely just killed.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't want to get him shell-shocked. I don't know if that's a right theory or not. I mean, he's the coach, I'm not.
Mm-hmm.
Just me looking outside, maybe that's a good move, maybe.
Right, and makes
I'm
sense. He's trying to win games, but
I'm disappointed in Tennessee this year. I didn't think we'd be 8-2 or 9-1, nothing like that with that schedule. But I was looking at 6-4, 7-3 maybe.
Right.
I was looking at that type of year.
And you started off 2-0, you beat South Carolina, Missouri, and it's just went downhill since the second half of the Georgia game.
It sure has.
You lost to Kentucky at home, and that was.
Well, that started it in my opinion.
Yeah, that was.
It did.
And you got Alabama coming up, and you're not going to win that one. And going to Arkansas, that's a game they should have won there. Should have won the Auburn game. They could have. You just can't put 4 quarters together. It seemed like the second half has just been the downfall.
Yep.
And also Tennessee basketball as well. They're having to shut it down. They'll be back in a little bit, but we got to go, and we appreciate everyone calling in. And we'd like to wish everyone a happy Thanksgiving out there. And David, thanks for coming in.
Thanks, man. Happy Thanksgiving, everybody.
For myself and David, we'll see you next week. Watching Locker Room Chat.